Heyo! Guys, gals, the time has come again to get hard on WMMA with me, Mac Hard, the most powerful Les. And that's what's going on right here. We're getting hard on WMMA. This is the place we come. We go live so we can all interact and get it all out. Talk about women's mixed martial arts, WMMA, and the ladies who fight inside of it. Now, today, right now on Hard, on WMMA, we're going to be talking about UFC 170. That's happening tonight, Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay. UFC 170, we got two female fights. One on the prelim and one as the main event. Okay? Headlining the prelims, we've got Alexis, Alligator Davis, and Jessica Evil Eye. And then, as the main event on pay-per-view, Rowdy Ronda Rousey defending her title against Sara Mcmann. Okay? Those are the two things we're going to be talking about here right now on Hard on WMMA. Okay? We'll go in the order as they'll be fighting. Let's talk about Alexis Davis and Jessica Eye. 1 second. Let's get some of this H2O down the hatch. Got a little twat juice still lingering. Let's get it down there. Prelims kicking off on Fox Sports 1 tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay? Check your local listings. They're going to be last. They got 4 fights on the prelim card. Now, Alexis Davis is coming in 15-5, 2-0 in the UFC. Jessica Eye is coming in at 11-1. But I'm going to go ahead and stick to her main. Now, I'm sorry. She's coming in at 10-1, but I'm going to go ahead and stick to what I consider her actual record of 11-1. As most of you know, her decision win over Sarah Kaufman back in October at UFC 166 was overturned. It's a bunch of bull honk. She popped for cannabinoids. We can get into that. We're going to have a Hard on WMMA in the future, totally dedicated to the place that marijuana testing has in the UFC and mixed martial arts. Okay? But right now, I just want you guys to know that I still consider that a win for Jessie Eye. Okay? Now, Jessica Eye is a boxer. Okay? An orthodox stance, and she's got some real precise, tight, quick jabs, and she lets them fly. Now, Alexis Davis is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and is very adept and skilled in Muay Thai. So these gals have the potentiality to have a really exciting standing game. And then when you take it to the ground, although Jessica Eye does not have a belt in any kind of ground game, she does have a natural athleticism that will be showcased during any time she has on the mat with Alexis Davis. Now, as most of you know, I'm the women's mixed martial arts correspondent for PunchDrunkSports.com, the #1 sports comedy website and podcast there is. Okay? And 2 articles went up today. Eye on the Gator, little article highlighting many of the things that I'm going to talk about just here in a second, about Alexis and Jessica, and then the takedown showdown, getting into the main event. Okay, so I'm going to get a little deeper into it as I do. We have these sessions here at Hard on WMMA. We go a little hand in hand, right in there, following up on the articles. Okay, so both these gals, when it comes to standing, Jessie Eye's got them jabs, precision, but also in that same theme of preciseness, Alexis Davis has some very sick kicks. Okay, there's plenty of footage out there. If you guys need to catch up, soak up some past fights to really, really have as much information as you can going into tonight, I encourage you to do so. Okay? But both these gals have a history of really just chipping away at their opponents with methodical, precise methods. Okay, Alexis Davis, she can hit the same spot on the leg round after round. She has incapacitated her opponents before. She is a brick wall, not only in her stoppage, okay, but also her face. This gal is not afraid to take a freight train to her face. And Jessica I isn't afraid to unload on a face. Now, I've seen both these gals bloodied up. I know that neither of them is afraid to get dirty. And it is going to be an exciting fight. Now, I think the odds, from what I can tell, the Vegas odds, they're in Davis's favor. She does have that double black belt, okay? Publicly, on paper, she is the more skilled when it comes to ground game. Now, Alexis's wins, she's had her fair share of TKOs, decisions, and submissions. Jessica I, the only submission out of her 10, 11 fights, the only submission she has done was a stand-in triangle chokehold, which that was at, I forget which number. It was Bellator against Zoila Gergel. And I tell you, go out and find that. They got plenty of footage out there. That's a good fight. That's very, very impressive. She put Zoila Gergel out to sleep. Night-night, no lullaby. Okay? But other than that, she hasn't had any submissions taking place on the ground. Okay? Now, she's probably had them gals trapped between her very sturdy thighs. That girl is built like a brick shithouse. But most of these gals are. It's one of the biggest reasons I love watching WMMA. I like tracking the growth of these gals' muscles, okay? Documenting with my mind the progression of their sinew. I'm a big fan of sinew, okay? And there is sinew abound in WMMA. So, Fox Sports 1 prelims, Jessica I versus Alexis Davis tonight. And that'll tide you over. That's a nice chunk to chew on. We can enjoy it, and we'll see how they move up in the rankings. Now, there's speculation that if Alexis Davis wins this fight, she will be next in line for the title shot. But I personally, I don't make any speculation or any plans for who's going to get that belt or who's going to fight for that belt until I hear it from the big guys upstairs themselves. But that being said, Alexis Davis is very deserving of a title shot, and she's not very vocal out there. She doesn't utilize social media to push her place in the lineup, okay? She's more of a quiet and reserved fighter, and she intends to let her work in the cage speak for herself, okay? Jessie I is a little more verbal. The spotlight has been on Jessica I lately because of this whole controversy with her overturned win in Houston. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. A lot of factors factoring in. And we shall see in just a few scant hours who comes out the victor. Alexis Davis, will she remain undefeated in the UFC? Or Jessica I, will she get this win and finally be able to put that hullabaloo bull honk behind her? And we'll be talking about it later, post-fight tonight. But now, let's really get into the meat and potatoes of this hard on WMMA. Ronda Rousey versus Sara Mcmann. Now, I'll tell you what, guys, I've been looking for this fight since before the UFC announced they were going to have gals fight in the UFC. Okay, it's been out there. Ronda Rousey, Olympic medalist. Sara Mcmann, Olympic medalist. I'm sure we've all heard it. The Olympian theme has been driven into our heads, and for good reason. Okay, it's a very exciting extra layer of the platform that we're going to see this fight on tonight. Now, Ronda Rousey, nobody has been able to bypass, escape, or defeat her judo. Okay, Sara Mcmann, undefeated in MMA as well. Nobody has been able to get away from her very elite wrestling. So that in itself makes this fight very exciting. Okay, Someone is going to leave the octagon with a loss on their record. So that's something at stake. Because once you get that loss, you can no longer be undefeated. Okay? So these gals are going to want to keep that undefeated title for themselves and take that into their next fight. Rowdy's last fight against Miesha Tate. And I'm going to use the fight just on a technical term because it was a fight in the UFC. But truth be told, okay, no disrespect to anybody, the chances of Miesha Tate winning that fight back in December were slim to none. Okay, and pretty much everybody knew that. She had garnered a lot of fans during TUF for her personality, but that didn't do anything to help her in the cage, and that fight just ended up being an exhibition, a showcase of Ronda's judo. Okay, and we just saw Tate's little legs go flying and flipping around the octagon. I tell you what, it ain't going to be so easy for the champ tonight, and I don't think she minds that one bit. Okay, Ronda Rousey relishes a challenge, and I think that there in her past fight, there was a little resentment there that there was such a lack of a challenge. And if there ever was to be a challenge, okay, it's Sara Mcmann. This gal is a beast. And she also, kind of like Alexis Davis, who we just talked about, she's more quiet, flying under the radar. She's not out there in the public eye. People don't know about her, what she's capable of, like they do Ronda Rousey. There's a lot of hype around the champ. Rightly so. She's earned every drop of that hype, okay? And the public's just licking it up. We're just licking all the drops of that hype up. But why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we just lick it all clean? Because it's all good. It's all rowdy good. Okay, but in the midst of that, here has come Sara Mcmann. A lot of people out there don't know the potential threat she is to Ronda Rousey and Ronda Rousey's title. Okay, Sara Mcmann, in addition to having that world-class wrestling, to in her own right, having just as impressive and repeated success with takedowns and bringing it to the mat, Sara Mcmann can stand and bang. Okay, said it before, I love to say it, she can stand and bang. Stand and bang. Now, she's got these devices strapped to her body, okay? We like to call them arms, but if you see them in action, you know that arm is not a good enough word to describe it, okay? Bulging muscles. You know she puts hard work into that body every day, and she's got power behind it. Now, Ronda Rousey, been watching her striking. She puts a little footage out there now and again so everyone can keep tabs on her progress. And her coach has also backed her up, saying that her striking is impeccable. But I will say this, I yet have not seen that power that Sara Mcmann has in her striking from Ronda Rousey. I'm not saying that she doesn't have it. I wouldn't put it past that girl to keep a lid on a real powerful weapon, okay? She doesn't want to give away all her secrets, but on the table with the information that we all have, okay? I don't think anybody can deny that Sara Mcmann has the advantage when it comes to throwing bombs. Now, Sara Mcmann can throw those bombs standing across like this, but her ground and pound is particularly vicious, okay? And I don't know if I'm not that much of an expert. I can't exactly say how much that has to do with gravity, but she is putting all this into this, okay? And she'll get you from this angle, she'll butt you up against the cage, and she'll get you from this angle. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a battle of the hips. Battle of the hips. Where's McMahon's hips in regard to Rowdy's hips? The hips, the hips, the hips, the hips. Okay. Two sets of hips that you just want to reach out and grab a hold of. But we can't do that tonight because they're in the zone. Okay, they're doing what they were born to do. And in a few short hours, we're going to know if we have a new women's bantamweight champion in the UFC. And that's the exciting thing about this fight. Like I was talking about the Miesha Tate Ronda Rousey fight back in December, it was exciting. I had a great time watching it, but I pretty much knew the outcome. I'm never going to say for sure one way or the other. Something flukish could happen, but you pretty much knew how it was going to end up. This is very different. Okay, for as much as whoever you're a fan of, Ronda Rousey or Sara Mcmann, and whoever you're pulling for, you can't really say in your deepest heart of hearts and your twat of twats that you know who's going to win. They are both too effing good to make that call, okay? Now I'll tell you what, you might not believe me, guys. You might not believe you, but from the minute Dana White announced Rousey versus McMahon, he put that poster over the portal. Look, my flesh is standing on end right now just talking about it. Every time I think Rousey versus McMahon, my nips get so hard and pointy, it hurts. It hurts. My excitement and anticipation is physically manifesting in my flesh, okay? My heart is pounding, and it's all right. I got a healthy aorta. I got a nice circulatory system. And if I think things are just slowing down a little bit, I just get a couple of those twat pops in. Pop that twat a couple times. Doesn't calm me down, okay? Doesn't make me any less excited about Rowdy versus McMahon, but it just adds to it, okay? It just further fuels this fire that I have for WMMA. Part of that fire, I like to load into a flamethrower and just spray on all of you, okay? I love taking these gals, what they do, process it, internalize it, and then put it back out to you guys. I want you to see WMMA through my eyes, okay? Right through these big dyke eyes. See it, okay? And I invite you, show me WMMA through your eyes. It's not just my eyes I want to see. I can look at a whole bunch of different things. I love interacting. I love communicating, okay? Hard on WMMA is also a platform that we can utilize to communicate. You might not have someone who loves MMA and the women in it in your personal life as much as I do, okay? So I offer myself wholly to you. Use me. Use this old Les for her WMMA knowledge. You got a question I haven't covered? Ask me. You want to find something out and I don't know it? I will go find out. Okay? I'm good at sniffing things out, not just twats. Okay? Not just that sweet snatch smell. I'm going to give it to you guys all the time, as much as I can. If there's something going on. Now, I'm not just going to be kicking on the camera and going live anytime something little happens. There's a lot of outlets there. It's not hard to find out basic information about WMMA. Okay? There's a lot of recycled information out there, and that's not what I'm about. I'm not about doing the things that a bunch of other people are out there already doing. You know, good to them for making that step. But here we get a little something different, a little side step, a little peekaboo into something else. Okay, and right now we're peeking at UFC 170. 2 female fights. Okay, both of them hard to call. First one a little easier than the last one, but why try to call it? It's like those people who procreate. Not for me. I don't get into all that. But some of them, they don't like to get all up there with the camera and tell if their baby fetus has a wiener or a vajayjay. Okay? It's kind of like that. We can kind of treat UFC 170 like that. Let's not talk about too much about who we think are going to win, because then we're focusing our mind on something that hasn't actually happened. We're going to deal in the facts. Okay? And we're going to put all those facts together. And you get one fighter's facts. And you get another fighter's facts. And then you just put them all like this. okay? And it paints a very original picture. So we'll know soon enough. Ronda Rousey, Sara Mcmann, it's going to be hands down the best female fight MMA has seen to date. Okay, and who knows what's going to come after this? This is a turning point. This is a turning point personally for these fighters. Okay, how refreshing for them to have an opponent that provides such a challenge. You cannot grow without those challenges. Okay, and Sara McMann and Ronda Rousey, the word stagnant is not a word that you would associate with either of those gals. Okay, and I look forward to, regardless of the outcome of this fight, each of their next steps. Now, tonight, after the event, I'm going to be right back here. We're going to go live again. Hard on WMMA post-fight review. And it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be hyped. I'm going to be popping my twat a whole lot. You can look forward to that, and then we can get into it. So I want to encourage you, meet me back here later on tonight, and we can really get into it. And we'll be in a different place. Right now, we don't know. We don't know it all. We don't see the picture. We have speculation, anticipation, and that's great. That's great, but there's going to be a payoff later. It's all going to come to a beautiful climax. A violent climax, high velocity. Let me just, before I end this, Sara McMann, Ronda Rousey, high velocity. Okay, if I could be on the floor of that octagon, feeling the mat and the platform slam and shake and vibrate, I would just let my whole skeleton fall out of all my holes, and I would be happy. All right, one thing I like to do before I wrap it up here at Hard on WMMA, I like to go to my Twitter feed. I got a special list, only people involved in WMMA. And I just like to check in, see if anything's happened in the moments that we've been here live. That way, when I leave you, you have the most up-to-date information. So let's check it out. All right, Punch Drunk right here, tweeting out about Ronda Rousey, congratulating the possible gentleman who might be getting intimate with the champ, okay? Giving that guy, if he exists, their propers, okay? We got Marina Shafir, one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA, Ronda Rousey's training partner. She's out there in Vegas as well. All them girls, they've been at Syndicate, sparring with people, getting their faces out there, interacting with the fans. That's what I really love about the gals of WMMA. They reach out to their fans. They reach out to their fans that are reaching out to them. Okay, that give and that take. Invicta Fights, tweeting out Invicta Fights, the all-female fighting organization, tweeting out thanking everybody for their support and passion for WMMA. Now, that looks to be all no breaking news. And all is well in the world. We can part ways now. We can calm that erect flesh down for just a few more hours and get ready for UFC 170. Now, I love being here with you guys hard on WMMA. I'm going to be back here after the fight for a post-fight review. Join me, and until then, let's power. Go to powerles.com.